This weekend I attended Politicon, which is an event that's roughly modeled after Comic-Con, and it's where politically interested people come together and talk about issues. So there were a couple thoughts I had, and I wanted to recap that event for everyone, especially those of you who couldn't make it. The groupings there were very interesting. We had actually a large number of libertarians. The Libertarian Party had a booth there. We also had many conservatives, and then a predominance of people who would classify themselves liberal or Democrat. And one of the things that I found most notable is that when we were in events and the speakers were speaking, the differences of opinion weren't as divisive as the personal attacks. So if people had differences about the methods they wanted to use to better society or impact humanity, that didn't seem to be very problematic for the crowd, especially. It was nice to be there firsthand and get to see the responses from people in the crowd. In one specific event, we had almost half and half with liberal and conservative in the audience, yet every single person cheered when they talked about what's right for people, how can we come together and solve issues, putting aside political BS and putting aside political differences to really find solutions. So for this particular event, we had a lot of people who are interested in politics. I know the average person out there might not be interested in politics, but this crowd was specifically interested in politics, and they thought that they understood where they fell on the political spectrum. But I found it really interesting the way that people cheered for the different speakers, and when they were surprised that they were supporting something that someone was saying that might be completely in opposition to what they thought they believed. And that's where the power comes from. It comes from people coming together and discussing issues and actually finding solutions for problems rather than just fighting or allowing yourselves to be divided by political parties whose only interest is money and power. The only thing that they're interested in is collecting more money and more power, and you're a pawn in that system. And because of that, this was such an impactful event for me, because you got to see firsthand, even in the hallways, people were having huge debates in the hallways. Some of the celebrity talent was kind enough to come out and actually be amongst the general people, whereas the majority of them were going through back hallways or going in the private areas that only talent could access. But for the people who really did come out into the general population, which is kind of more like Comic-Con, where they're actually mixing and mingling, they had lively debates in the hallways. People were filming all over the place. And really a lot of discussions were happening where you could tell that people had the same end goal in mind, but their methodologies were different. And that helps bring people together when you're not just slinging hate or saying, if you're for Trump, you're racist, or if you're if you're socially conscious, you don't care about family values. Those are kind of divisive tactics that we see a lot on social media. But when people came face to face, there were some productive conversations, general discussions, and sharing of information that allowed people to see where they were actually a lot closer than they thought. And of course, a lot of it was showy because these are people that are celebrities on a bigger stage. So some of it was for show, and there was some posturing that always takes place. This is the kind of event where a spectrum of people came together, and I actually had people criticize me for posting photos and sharing information that other people were commenting on from the audience and even the speakers, because they weren't the typical people that I would look to for alignment. Like, I wouldn't necessarily endorse them and they might not endorse me, but I was sharing photos of the event and kind of being an observer in this area. And that actually angered people, just that I would even go to an event where different ideas were being shared. And I'll tell you right now, that has no effect on me. I'm not going to change what I'm doing. I am most interested in advancing humanity, helping people, finding ways to get the things we all need. We all need housing. We all need water. We all need food. We all need some form of education. We all need some simple, basic things. And finding the best way to procure or provide or whatever, those basic things, that's where my interests lie. And that takes people coming together in open discourse. We used to be a country of open discourse. That's what we were founded on. Many of our political circles are very cliquey or they're very divisive. And that's just not the way that I am, and that's not what I'm going to support. What I want to support is open discourse, discussing ideas and issues that are important to everyone, also some that are just important to a few. I mean, both areas are important, and that's what you can expect from me. So that's what I'll continue doing, and I thought that this event was very interesting, very impactful, and I really enjoyed getting to pop into the different talks that I was able to make it to. There are so many going on at the same time that there's no way you can see them all. But if you get a chance to go next year, I would definitely recommend it. So you can find us at DeRoseForSenate.com, and you're able to sign up to volunteer, you can donate, and you can also connect with us on social media, which is really important to share our posts with friends and family so you can start to get the word out. We're trying to get, 500,000 people to vote for me. So definitely share the message and come on board. We're really excited to have you.